Jim Wright with Georgia on Location, which is a video series where I explore the history, geography, and hidden stories of our state and connect that to what we learn in 8th grade Georgia studies. Join me today as we explore the Lake Hartwell Tugaloo River region, which its rich history dating back to the ancient Native Americans who called this land home for many generations. We'll look at how the lake now covers the headwaters of the Savannah River, a physical feature steeped in also history, geography, and economics, as well as explore the name Hartwell itself and how that connects to possibly a famous woman of the American Revolution or another tale of famous woman of the Cherokee Nation. So let's get out there and explore this region. Here we go. Our journey begins at Stevens County Recreation Area outside of Toccoa, Georgia, on the border of Georgia and South Carolina. Toccoa has served as the setting for a number of videos that I have done before. Few waterfall videos are set in Toccoa, Georgia, and one Georgia on Location that talks about the history of military bases at Currahee Mountain. So we're going to go ahead and go to our next stop and begin our story about this region here. However, our story begins today at the Georgia historical marker near US 123 and Lake Hartwell, which is behind me. A little more than a half mile north of this marker, in what is now the center of the lake, once stood an important Native American town. Prior to European contact in the mid-1500s, the Lamar Mississippian culture dominated the area and much of Georgia from about 900 to 1600 CE, which stands for Common Era. One of the key features of this culture was construction of flat-top earthen mounds. There are several mounds you can still visit in Georgia today, like the Etowah and Okmulgee. But here at Lake Hartwell, all that remains of Tugaloo Mound is a patch of trees on an island in the middle of the lake. After European contact, warfare and disease decimated native populations. These Mississippian peoples eventually became known as the tribes such as the Muskogee Creek and the Cherokee. The Cherokee moved into this area and established a town called Old Tugaloo, where the mound is today. And this became a thriving trading center. At the time of filming, it doesn't really necessarily look like a mound or an island in the middle of the lake because the lake levels have been low due to drought conditions. It kind of reminds me of coastal Georgia with the marshlands and stuff like that. However, during the American Revolution, the Cherokee sided with the British, and as a result, American patriots destroyed the town, thus the mound. There's another mound located a few miles south called Chauga Mound, and archaeologists estimate that parts of this site may date back as far as 10,000 years ago. Both Tugaloo and Chauga mounds were excavated in the 1950s before the creation of Lake Hartwell in 1962, when rising water submerged these important historical sites. While you're in the area, you can travel about 40 miles south to the Hartwell Dam and see where the Savannah River begins. Before the lake was created, the headwaters of the Savannah River were just a few miles upstream at the confluence of the Tugaloo and Seneca rivers. The Savannah River has long been an economic powerhouse, historically used to transport crops like cotton downriver to the port of Savannah. Today, it also supports tourism, recreation throughout the region. We're going to continue exploring the Tugaloo River corridor, where you can visit several interesting historic sites, including the Jarrett Hayes House, the Prather House, there's also a Prather Bridge, and Travelers Rest historic site. Travelers Rest in the early 1800s was a stagecoach inn that served travelers on the Unicoi Turnpike. There are other places to explore in this region, which include Broken Bridges, which is at the Stevens County Rec area. It's a historical bridge with the middle section removed. Tugaloo Bend Heritage Park, once the site of a Cherokee village of Estow. All right, so one of the last stops on the Tugaloo River corridor is Yonah Dam, which is behind me and forms the Tugaloo River. Alright, so we are on the banks of Lake Hartwell right here, and as I told you in the beginning, Lake Hartwell has a special name, special meaning. So when I first learned about Lake Hartwell, well, the idea of heart comes from a woman by the name of Nancy Hart. She was a revolutionary hero. She was a spy for the Patriots. And the legend goes is what she did was that 6 Tories came to her log cabin wanting food and drink and all that stuff. So, and Tories were the loyalists. Patriots were the people who wanted independence from Great Britain. And she served them and tricked them. And eventually what she did is she stole their guns and she killed them. And this used to be a standard in the Georgia standards that we used to teach about, but there wasn't a lot of history behind it. There wasn't a lot of archaeological evidence behind it. And then recently, within the last like 10 years, they found what they think were the 6 bodies of the Tories that she had killed. So Nancy Hart County is named for her. Lake Hartwell right here is named for her. And she also had a nickname called War Woman. And up until a few days ago, I thought War Woman tied to Nancy Hart. Up in Clayton, Georgia, there's a thing called War Woman Dell. It's a wildlife management area. And I thought it was named for Nancy Hart. But upon further research, it seems like there's conflicting stories. Maybe both stories could be true, who knows? But the one story is that Nancy Hart was called War Woman. Therefore, War Woman Dell, War Woman Waterfall was named for her. A second story, which is really cool because it connects to other stories that I've talked about. So there was this lady named Nancy Ward, and she was a Cherokee who fought at the Battle of Taliawa. And if you remember, I did a Georgia on location where I was at Long Swamp Creek, where the Battle of Taliawa was, okay? So you have this Cherokee woman, Nancy Ward, who connects to multiple stories in Georgia history. So I just thought that was kind of a cool connection there with Nancy Hart, Nancy Ward, and all that stuff. So there you have it. We packed in a lot of amazing history, geography, and places to explore in the Lake Hartwell region. There's more out there that I didn't cover. If you're ever in the area, come by and experience the natural beauty and the deep history of the Tugaloo River corridor. This is Jim Wright with Georgia on Location. Have a great day.